Hello everyone, it's Miss Devon and I'm here today to show you how you can garden using things that you find only in your house or maybe outside too when you dig up the dirt. So as you can see here, these are all things that I found in my kitchen. Vegetables, herbs, fruit, beans, and then a bunch of herbs from my spice rack. Now, many of our spices are the leaves of plants, but some spices are the seeds. And if you can figure out which spices are seeds, you can always try to plant them. Sometimes they get too old, sometimes they don't work, but you can always try. Today we have sesame seeds, cilantro, fennel seeds, and mustard seeds. We also have some garlic. All right, some of these things can grow in just a couple of weeks. Some of them will take months and months. So you also have to think about how long are you willing to wait before you can eat the food that you grow. So these are some of the things that we're going to be planting. Also, I have some seeds that you can always go to a store to buy seeds, or go online, especially now, to buy seeds. And we'll talk a little bit about which seeds work best inside at the end. Now, the biggest question is, what are you gonna plant in and where are you gonna get your soil or your dirt? So let's start with what I found for us to plant in. So you can always go out and buy some plastic seedling cups. These are awfully small. There's not much that's going to grow in these for very long. So while these are good to start your seeds in, they are not big enough to grow very many things. Maybe a little bit of lettuce or a little bit of basil or cilantro, but not much can grow in a cup this size. So we have some other things. This is a takeout container. This is good for a couple of reasons. You can either use both sides, put the soil in both sides, or you can put the soil on one side, and if you cover it up like this, it keeps the air in there extra moist, and your seeds will sprout quicker if it has this top on it. So this acts like kind of like a greenhouse, a little mini greenhouse. So it's a good way to get your seeds to grow quickly, is if you cover them up. Or you can always use this as two at once. Egg cartons are also a good thing. You can use the eggshells like this to plant in. So you put your soil right in there and then you plant in the egg, or you can simply put them right into this little section. So this side would have 12 little places for seeds to grow. You could add the eggs over to that side. You could grow 12 more. This is a fun thing to do with your eggshells and your egg container. This I took in, you can probably guess what it is. It's an old cereal box. I cut off the top, and there is plenty of space in there to plant seeds. This, I think rice was in here. Another takeout container. This is a perfect size to grow seeds in. This had some soup in it, both of these. This one's a little small actually. You could get things started in here, but it's a little small. This one's a good size. Another takeout container. You could do it on both sides as well, or once again you could try to use this as like a little greenhouse and cover it up and let your seeds sprout on one side. These are toilet paper rolls, which I thought they'd be a little funny to show. They're very small, so they also are not going to last very long. But what you do is you make 4 little cuts in the bottom with your fingers, or you could use scissors. So there's 4 little cups, and then you just fold it down like this so it's covered, or fairly covered in the bottom. You're going to want a little hole anyways for the water to sneak out. And there's the bottom, so now you have a little cup, a little tiny pot made out of a toilet paper roll. The nice thing about this is it's totally compostable. So if you grow your plant in here and then you wanted to plant it outside, you don't have to take it out of this cup. You can just directly take this and plant it directly into the soil, because it will just totally disappear. It will turn into soil. The worms will eat it just like our compost. So this can go straight into the soil. That's a cool thing about these toilet paper roll cups. All right, that's all I have right now for small things. This Amazon box you could totally use as a big planter. And another fun thing that is somewhat permanent is you could use a milk crate. This milk crate has tiny little holes, so you could probably just fill the dirt directly into here. It would fall out a little bit, but eventually it would become solid around the sides. I think a good way, you can buy something called, I even forget the name because I've never bought it. It's called like gardening fabric or landscaping fabric. And essentially it's the same consistency as these reusable shopping bags. So I think an easy thing to do would be just to put one of these reusable shopping bags. It has to be the kind that are made out of, that have little holes in them so the water can seep through. You wouldn't want to use a plastic one. But as long as water can seep through the bag, you can totally put the bag in here. If you wanted to cut it so it fit a little bit better, you could. I think a better thing to do is just fill this up with as much soil as you can, and then you have this bag filled with dirt and the plastic crate to hold it together. This would be good if you want to plant something big like a tomato plant or a pepper plant or a sunflower. Those would all work well in something big like this. All right, let's move on to what type of soil. So you can buy potting soil. It's probably the best thing for your seeds is to buy potting soil. It comes with this little white things in there. It's called percolite. That helps your seeds stay moist. Not too wet, not too dry, just moist. And the soil is very light, which helps the seeds grow. They don't get pushed down too much. So you can do that. You can go to the store. Right now it's probably better if you ordered it online. However, seeds grow almost everywhere. Another thing you can do is take a shovel. If you don't have a shovel, you can always use a big spoon. Ask your mother first, but a spoon works almost as well as a shovel. So let's go down into my yard and we're going to get up some soil from the yard. Follow me down the stairs. You can take a quick look. My next video is going to be all about a day in the life of the ducks, and you can see here the ducks aren't in here yet, but the ducks have a new home. But I'm going to get you some soil first. So if you have a big shovel like this is the easiest way to get it started. Put your shovel in the ground, use your foot, push down, pull back, and flip it over. You might even find some worms, and to loosen up the soil. So that's a big shovel like this helps. If you don't have a big shovel, you're going to have to just use your muscles and get that dirt out. So, like I showed you, you can just use a spoon in your hands. Look at it, we have worms. There's a little worm. I think I might have cut that one in half. There's another worm. There's another worm. There's a whole bunch of worms, see? This means the soil is good, and it'll be totally fine to plant our seeds and our plants in this soil. I'm going to put the worms over there so they can grow, make my other plants grow. And we're going to put some more soil in here. So notice I'm using my hands and a spoon, and that's it. You don't even need a shovel. If you do have a shovel, you can tell your parents, remind them how to do it. Say 2 hands, push it in, pull up slowly, and flip it over like a pancake. Remember to never dig like a dog. You don't want to get dirt or soil in your family's face. So that's probably enough from now. We're going to use this soil and go plant a couple things up here. So let's start with, it's an easy one. We're going to put some soil into this cup. So we're going to use the spoon. Frankly, a spoon is almost easier than a shovel when you're doing things like this. What you want to do is use your hands to break up any clumps. You want the soil to be as soft as possible for these little seeds to grow in. If you find something big like this wood chip or a rock, just toss it out and crumple up the soil best you can. All right, let's look over here. Let's see, what should we plant in here? Let's start with an easy one. Let's do some fennel seeds. We have some fennel in our garden already. So this is exactly what the seeds would look like if you went to went and bought a packet of fennel seeds to plant. So if you went to a hardware store or a gardening store and bought fennel seeds, they'd look just like this. These might be a little bit old. We're going to put a lot of extra ones in here because these might not work quite as well. But if just one of these works, we're going to have a fennel plant, right? So I'm going to put these seeds in here and spread them out. If all of these started to sprout, we would have to what's called thin them out, which means you pull some out. I would say you don't want more than 3 fennel plants to grow in this little pot at a time. So you're going to push down a little bit on each one of them. Notice how I left a little space at the top. I'm going to sprinkle some more soil on top, so you want to cover them up lightly. Remember to be very gentle and never to press down hard on our seed. Just say pat, 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 pat. Here we go. Now the thing is, you want to make sure that you remember this is fennel. I forgot to bring out my marker, but what we should do is write fennel on the side of this container so you know that that's a fennel. For now, tell you what, we're going to put this right next to it so we remember that we planted fennel in there. All right, now let me get, so we have some fruits and vegetables from my kitchen. I'm going to cut the lemon and the apple in half, and we're going to find the seeds. So whenever you're eating or cooking with these things, you always have to deal with the seeds, right? Because you don't want to eat the seeds. But you can always see if you can make them grow. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get apples and lemons to sprout. So usually I plant a bunch of seeds and hope that 1 or 2 of them will sprout. So here we found, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 apple seeds. Let's see how many lemon seeds we can find. Let's see. I think I cut some of those lemons in half. But that's okay, just a little bit in half is okay. So let's see which of the lemons are going to grow. Now, you're not going to be eating lemons or apples this summer if you plant the seeds now, right? This is something you have to wait for. But it is super fun to watch, and it's super fun to know that you have a tree that is producing fruit for you, which is super exciting, but you have to wait. So if you're 5 years old right now, you're gonna have to wait until you're at least 10 before you can eat these apples or lemons from your trees. So let's see, what container would be good for our apples and our lemons? I think this would be good for one of them. Fill this up and we'll put our apple seeds in here. I'm breaking up the soil so there's not any hard bits in here. There we go. Ooh, there's a great big worm. All right, I'm gonna take the apple seeds like before, spread them out, drop them in there, and let's see how many little tiny apple trees we can start growing. Eventually, obviously, they cannot live in this little container forever. But these apple seedlings, if they grow, could stay in this box all summer long. They'll be totally fine, probably until September, October, when they'll probably start to need a bigger container. So I'm gently cover them up, giving them a soft pat, not too much. Once again, I forgot my marker. We're gonna put the apple on top here so we remember that we planted apples in here. I'm gonna use this one for the lemons, and then we are gonna cover them up on one side so we can see if this will make the lemons sprout quicker. I'm still just using that spoon from the kitchen and it's working just fine. So if you don't have a shovel, there's no reason to stress out. You can do it with a spoon. If you wanted to make your soil a little bit better, if you have a sandbox near your house or in your backyard, you can add a little sand to your soil. That will make the soil softer and make it more porous, which means the water will run through it better. Now, these containers don't have any holes in the bottom, so one thing you need to be careful about these is if you don't overwater them. So you don't want it to ever look like it's mud. You don't want it to look like it's a swimming pool. So you want the soil, to be moist, which means a little bit wet. Not super wet, not like your seeds are swimming, but just so this soil right now is moist. When you squeeze it together, it sticks together. It doesn't crumble apart. So that's moist. This is a good level of water is in the soil right now. So we've had a lot of rain lately, so the soil right now is very moist. It contains a lot of water. So the nice thing about this one is you can put the top on it, and it acts like a little greenhouse and keeps the seeds super warm and moist in there. So that's where we planted a lemon. All right, that's where I'm gonna end with the soil right now, but I'm gonna show you what you can do with just a jar of water. Say you don't have any dirt, or you don't wanna go outside and dig up dirt. You can grow things in just water for a while. Not forever, they'll eventually get rotten, but you can grow things in just water. This right here is cilantro. I just picked it out of the garden today. I'm gonna use the tops of this in my enchiladas tonight for dinner. But this bottom I don't need. What I'm gonna do is leave a little bit of, just a few a few stems of cilantro here. That one's already broken, we'll take that one out. And it has just a little bit growing right now. But you see how it has all those roots right there? Those roots are gonna keep your cilantro alive. If you put them in water like this, then you should, in a little while, start to get more and more little cilantros growing, more and more stems of cilantro growing out of it. In fact, I would even cut this. It's easier with scissors than with a knife. I would cut this even shorter. So I would get rid of this big stem right here and just have that much. That's how I would start it. And with those roots in there, the cilantro will hopefully grow more stems for you. And you can eat the cilantro, just cut the tips off of this and use the cilantro in your cooking. The same things works with these green onions. Great big onions don't work quite as well. If you're super patient, sometimes big onions will work. But what you can do with these, cut them to eat, to use. So I'll use these in my enchiladas tonight too. So this we're gonna take inside to eat. But these guys right here can go into the water as well. Actually, these should go into a shorter thing of water. So I'm gonna put some of this water in here. There we go. So the cilantro has water, and these onions have water to grow in as well. And these guys, you can leave them right like that. You could also maybe put them in there like this. That's a better way to do it. So that way the roots stay wet, and then with a little time you're gonna get these green leaves coming out like this. They'll have they'll start out very small, but then they'll grow bigger and bigger. You can cut them off, eat them, and then they should keep growing more and more. Eventually the bulbs and the roots down there are gonna rot, and you'll have to start over again with new onions. But this is definitely one way to grow onions without any soil. You can totally do this with soil as well. So if you want to take one onion, I'm going to scoop up some soil in this, and you could also use your soil and plant your onion just like this. That's another way to grow new onions, is you can do the onions in dirt. If you don't have any dirt, however, you can also grow onions in water. All right, that's a lot that we've done so far today. I will write up some of my suggestions, so you can also have your mom or dad read out some suggestions for planting things in water, planting things in soil. Lastly, where do you put them? These can either go outside on your deck if you're sure that squirrels and birds won't get to them, or you can put them, if you follow me, I'll show you. You can bring them into a sunny window in your house. So follow me. I'm going to put them in a sunny window in my house where we can watch them grow. Here's Rio waiting for me. You can see that I already have some things growing in the sunny window. I'm trying to get this is actually thyme. I'm trying to get this thyme to reroot. So this is a thyme stem. I'm trying to get it to reroot in that water. There's an avocado seed in there, and this is a vine that I'm trying to get to grow. You're actually doing well. So this is the sunniest window in my house. I don't have a lot of sun. This is the best I have. So I don't have a ton of inside space to put things in the window. But we definitely use whatever we can. All right, that's it for today. I am gonna give you one view of the ducklings. I promise my next video is gonna be about a day in the life of the ducklings, but here they are in their home. They are getting bigger, I have to say. There's one right here. This one is Basil. Basil, say hello, kids. Hello, kids. I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye for now. Be healthy, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.